name's Michael.
And I'm Anthony.
And we're two dudes sitting on a couch who got bored. So, we did this. Hopefully you enjoy. It should be a good time. So, Anthony, when we say this, what does this mean?
So we decided that we were going to make our own Canadian National Hockey League with the new NHL 23 in the franchise. So we went through the blood, sweat, and tears of creating a 36-team roster. You can't see the others, but there they are. We kept the 7 Canadian teams that are in the NHL and then just created a bunch more on our own. So we've got 2 conferences, the Western and the Eastern, and we've got 3 divisions. We've got the Pacific Division, the Alberta Division, the Prairies Division, the Great Lakes Division, the St. Lawrence Division, and the Atlantic Division.
And we want to give a big shout out to some of our friends who kindly looked over the jerseys. We had a small group of test subjects who viewed each jersey and either threw up on seeing them or praised us for our ability to put together jerseys. Big thanks. Anthony's the one who put most of it together. I'm colorblind, so I don't do that. But so we're hoping that we'll get to go through all the jerseys at some point here and just walk you through some of the ideas. That might be a side episode or something if one of us can't be here for the main ones. The general idea, just like Anthony said, 36 teams. It's gonna be a blast. The way we've broken it down is they're actually gonna play. How many games was it again?
84 games.
They're gonna play 84 games. So we got that a little bit. The minor league is only gonna play 74.
That is correct.
Why the heck not? We're gonna do a fantasy draft too. We use the fun little function in NHL 23 that allows you to open up the expanded player pool. This function is going to allow us to use draft players from any league that the game has, besides obviously your whatchamacallits.
The NHL?
No. Like you can't do.
The AHL and the.
No, you can do the AHL. You can do the NHL.
Oh, yep.
You can't do like franchise bests or franchise all-stars or the all-grit team.
Right. Yeah.
The all-historical team, stuff like that. So, we are going to be playing as the Prince George Lumberjacks, considering that we live right around Prince George. The 2 of us are actually Albertans.
Yep.
That's where we grew up. We're raised. Anthony was born in Ontario, but we don't speak of that, and that's okay.
That is very true.
I grew up just east of Edmonton, so I rep the Oilers colors most often, and Anthony is a unicorn.
Yeah. So I grew up southern and northern Alberta, but when it comes to the NHL, I cheer for the Nashville Predators.
And we all pray that his sins will be forgiven as such. But other than that, we're just gonna go through and we're gonna go through what all the teams are, and then we're going to do some randos. We're gonna hit the randomize button 3 times and see which pick we get, just so that you guys watching know that we didn't fib anything to get Connor McDavid first overall. And, I have my fingers crossed that Calgary, Montreal, and Vancouver don't get the first overall pick. So obviously we have the original Canadian teams. We have the Ottawa Senators, the Oilers, the Flames. We got, where are they? Jets, coming down over to
Toronto Maple Leafs and
Vancouver.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't hockey fans, those are the how many 7 Canadian teams?
Yep.
In the league: Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, all in the Western Conference, and Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto in the East. I will apologize ahead of time. When we get into the divisions, we'll show you guys how we broke them down. There are some cities that are in sort of a slightly weird place, and it just comes down to the beautiful geography that is this country of Canada. But, without further ado, some of the other cities we got down here. We have Windsor, the Windsor Stingray, coming into you in our Great Lakes division. The Kelowna Rampage was one, being the fact that Kelowna is practically the California of Canada. You had to put them in there. Regina getting their team along with Saskatoon. There's some good old Saskatchewan representatives, as they are often overlooked. Moncton coming in with the Hammerhead just didn't really have a great name for them. Didn't know what to do with that, so we went there. The Niagara Falls Thunder coming in. Yes, Canada is half of those falls. Take that, America. Ha
Oh yeah.
Medicine Hat, they're one of the teams that when I said the divisions are a little slightly weird, Medicine Hat, even though it's in Canada, or sorry, even though it's in Alberta,
They're all in Canada.
It's in the Prairies division with the Saskatchewan and the Winnipeg, or the Manitoba teams. My bad. Jumping over, we have the Cape Breton Screamin' Eagles. That's right, we gave them that good old minor hockey league team they got, or that they used to have.
They still have it, but
They still have it.
the jerseys need some work, so
Yeah.
I fixed that.
Prince Albert is coming to you out of Saskatchewan for the Checkers. Hamilton Tigers, very much inspired by obviously the CFL, Canadian Football League team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who I loathe. The Laval Monsters coming out of Quebec. Fredericton Vikings, those guys are out east. We got the Quebec Nordiques making a good old surprise appearance, coming straight out of the old NHL, would now call the Colorado Avalanche. And then I'll let Anthony go through the next 18.
Yeah, so the next we got is Nanaimo Whalers, being that they're on the island and you get a lot of whales there. Made sense. So we decided to give them a team. My city of Grand Prairie, rather than calling them the Storm like their Alberta Junior Hockey League team is, went with the Gladiators, went with a nice black and silver, looking like LA there. It's a pretty good time. It says Fort Worth, but don't worry, it's Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
And we're bringing the Barons out and giving that northeastern part of Alberta something to cheer for, because they don't have much else. Then we got the Charlottetown Admirals out of PEI, giving them an actual team that they can look up to and not just be called the PEI Islanders, because that is lame. And then we have the Red Deer Rebels. I think they have an amazing jersey and an amazing style. They are the team that I cheer for when it comes to the WHL. Unfortunately, you cannot just transfer them over, so created our own version. The Sudbury Wildcats.
Also transferred over, I believe.
Yep.
Name-wise.
Yeah, name-wise, so it's usually Moncton, but we went with Sudbury because I thought it just made it a little bit better. Brought the colors of an actual team that I played as when I was a little kid, which was quite fun. We brought the London Knights. The name was cool, so we...
Also, how can you not? One of the most cherished major hockey league franchises in Canada. The amount of stars in the NHL that have come out of London is just ridiculous. Something to look up, and we'll probably touch on later when we go through the teams in more depth.
Definitely, yeah. So we changed up the logo, changed up the colors a bit, and went with that. Brought out the Sherbrooke Comets out of Quebec. That is where Canada's main space astronaut stuff happens. So thought that would work quite well. Lethbridge Warhogs. I like the idea of the Warhogs, and it's Lethbridge. If you've been there, you know.
Not gonna lie, yes, I call them the Pigifiers because the logo looks like a pacifier if you're not focused in.
Yeah. Then we got Victoria. We brought them up. The Royals from the WHL, Western Hockey League. Yeah, changed up the colors, changed up the logo a bit, but made it work. Brandon, Manitoba. We brought out the Warriors. I was definitely a great time to create them, figure that out. Another one coming out of Ontario, Kingston Trappers. Yeah, so they are in the St. Lawrence Division with Quebec City, Sherbrooke, and Ottawa, rather than with the rest of the Toronto or the.
We thought pretty fitting coming down to the fact that the fur trade came out of that area. That was a huge point of it. Brandon Warriors is also to pay homage to Louis Riel, the Métis, and their heritage that comes out of that part of Manitoba. So yeah.
Yeah, and brought up the St. John Sea Dogs. This is one that Michael made up and did all the colors and the name and whatnot, and because
Colorblind.
Colorblind, so why not make it blue and yellow? We brought out the Surrey Grizzlies. We originally thought Abbotsford would be a good idea, but Surrey's bigger, so take that, Abbotsford.
Yeah, I drove down there to go visit someone, and I was in Surrey. Never really been there before. I was like, crap, it's big. This is like a full city. Going down to the Lower Mainland in BC, and just like Sudbury, Surrey, Burnaby, Richmond, Vancouver. They all just feel like one city. So I'm just gonna argue that it's all one spot, but apparently it's not. So Surrey Grizzlies.
There we go. And the last of the custom teams is the Halifax Highlanders. Just decided to bring out another lion, brought up some wild colors, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, these are our teams for our
Alternate hockeyverse.
the ultimate hockeyverse. Yep. So we'll get started here, randomize 3 times, and we'll see where we land. Hopefully Prince George gets higher up.
Connor McDavid!
One can only hope.
Okay. Here we go. First randomization.
Top 10. Okay.
Drop down to the 10th. Okay. Not bad.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys. I always feel that I enjoy picking way in the middle because then your picks are way more consistent.
This is true.
The snake draft.
This is true.
Number 3. Ooh, 29.
Oh boy.
Hard. Vancouver. No.
Ah! No, we cannot have our divisional rivals up that high.
Okay.
That is gross. All right.
And then
Number 20.
there you go. Number 20.
The Cape Breton Screaming
That's what we're
Eagles.
sticking
Man,
with. So,
there's somebody I know who's going to be real happy with that.
Connor McDavid. Edmonton, of course, rigging it to get top 5. Not even surprised. Laval at the bottom. Surrey, the bottom non-custom Vancouver. How fitting. I'm okay with it.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah. So here we go. We're gonna hit the start button and let's get underway.
Yep. Kid Group is in the chat, so he's very happy
Nice.
that
Yeah.
Screaming Eagles are getting the first pick.
We're not gonna do the full fantasy draft. We'll probably do about 10, maybe 15 picks. More so also looking at who everybody else picks. Coming in with the first overall pick, surprise, surprise.
Connor McDavid goes to the
gonna be
Cape
Screamin'
Breton Scream.
Eagle. One of the greatest players of all time. Definitely the best player in the league, in my opinion. Cale Makar jumping in to Nanaimo. Look at that. Austin Matthews doesn't have to move that far from Toronto. Jumping into Niagara. And what?
What?
What the heck? There's two
That's-
Cale Makars.
There's 2. What? That's weird.
Wait a second here.
There's something afoot.
Oh boy. Isn't this hilarious? There's doubles of certain players. Well, time to get to the bottom of this. How did that happen? There's no... Did we have multiple teams aligned?
Shouldn't have. I didn't get those.
Well, do we want to go through with this?
Yeah. See what happens.
There's doubles. That's what's going on now. Whoa, there's a triple. No, that's just 2 Russian dudes.
Yep.
Okay. So, we have the 20th pick.
Let's see what happens.
Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane,
Kane.
Panarin,
Panarin. Ooh.
Kaprizov.
Capri. Oh, man.
I think, just looking at it, with the players, the options, age-wise, 25 is pretty good. 4 years, that's pretty good too. We know that his potential is way up there. I'd definitely be picking between him, Rantanen, and Marner. Just the 10 million is quite high. You good with Kaprizov?
Oh, yeah. Kirill the Thrill, man.
Thrill the thrills coming
Let's
up.
go.
Prince George.
Love it. Love to get a...
Going through here. Let's take a look at the rest of that first round. It's nice to have no time limit.
That is very nice. Kane. There's ours.
Kirill. Patrick Kane going next. No surprise there. Oh, going in between. We're in between Patrick Kane's.
That's weird.
in Ottawa. Panarin out in Winnipeg, okay, and then also interesting, Shesterkin and Shesterkin. 2 Kirils, okay.
I think I know what happened.
What happened?
I think because we hit the expanded thing.
Do we just want to do this?
We'll have to reset the whole system if we do.
I know.
I think it would be best if we did.
Okay. Well, gotta have a couple hiccups to drink some more coffee, right?
Exactly.
So, you get the full breakdown of how we did this.
Yep. What's going on here? Do something real quick.
Nice. Custom league.
Yep. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah. There's 36 teams. There's 2 conferences. There's 6 divisions. Salary cap on. All of that's good. No round robin. We said 84.
And 24 each.
Yep.
And then whatever's left goes into the interconference.
24 each. There you go.
Oh.
Boom.
There we go. Now it's fixed.
Yeah, so the breakdown here comes down to they're going to play teams outside of their conference twice, just like they do in the NHL, and then it'll break up a little more. Going there. For the way that this league is going to be set up, it's going to be 5-on-5. It's going to be 3-on-3, 5-minute overtime, then a shootout. However, we're changing it slightly a little closer to the international hockey rules, where there's going to be 3 points for a win, and then in overtime or a shootout, the winner gets 2 points and the loser gets 1 point, making sure that the 3 points is broken up. If you lose a regular time, you get nothing. For the playoffs,
This
here
will
we
be
go.
conference.
There is a playoff reseed. 1 will play 8, and then if 1 wins and 7 wins, 1 plays 7. There's no wild card round. We're going to have
You need to change the top one to the conference.
Yep.
There
Conference.
we go. And it's
8 teams per conference are going to make it. So that does mean that there's going to be some that are left out. It's going to be regulation wins for the tiebreaker. So if 2 teams are tied in points at the end of the season, regulation wins, regulation and overtime, total wins, which does include the shootout, and then goal differential, just like they do in the NHL. With the playoff format, it's going to be continuous overtime. None of that shootout business in the World Juniors. No, thank you. And then we're going to do it a little differently when it comes to the breakdown. It's going to be a 2-3-2. 2 games at home, 2 games away, 2 games at home for the higher seed team. The reason behind that is just different, change. You know, if this was a real league, I would be someone who thinks it's way nicer to not travel as much. And so this would minimize the travel.
This is very true, especially for the home teams. You start at home, you move once and do 3 away games, and then you can move back, and you're good. If you can make it that far, if you don't sweep them.
6 divisions.
Yep, this is the AHL, so we're just going to do the exact same thing.
The AHL we're not too worried about. We're going to do that. And that.
There we go.
These guys are going to have that as well. And these guys are going to do this.
That's all the same.
Totally fine. Okay. Advance. Boom. The names, and obviously, welcome to the alternate hockey verse.
Heyo.
Teams wise, the team that we are going to be picking, we're going to substitute them in right away here. We're going to be going with the Prince George.
You went past it. There it is. There it is. You found it. Found your way home eventually.
Interesting.
now it comes to the divisions. We were originally going to talk about this differently, but because of the mess up on our half, thanks for bearing with us. As I put the teams in, Anthony's going to break down what went into our thought process when it came to putting in those teams.
Yeah, definitely. So for this first division, we'll start as the Pacific Division. So we've got Victoria, Vancouver, Nanaimo, Prince George, and Surrey. And there's one other, Kelowna. That's the other one. I'm looking right at it. So with the Kelowna Rampage, it was kind of a neat idea. It's like, okay, they're kind of in the mountain range of the Rocky Mountains in the Okanagan Valley. They've got, and there's, with the logo, it came up with the fact that there's a lot of bighorn sheep in that area. I've driven through that area a couple times, and it is very common to find bighorns all over the place. So that's where the logo came up, and with that, it's like you can have a rampage of bighorns. Unlikely you'll find them, but it's also the fact that avalanches and mudslides and landslides happen in BC, in the area with all these mountains. So the idea of the rampage really stuck out and worked really well in my mind.
Exactly.
So the Surrey Grizzlies, bears are a thing here, a place here. Yeah, totally. You can go to Bear, New York, sure. But yeah, we got grizzlies, we got black bears all over the place, and it kind of just rolls off the tongue quite well. Also, there used to be a basketball team in Vancouver called the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Back in the 90s, when the Raptors came in, they also brought in the Vancouver Grizzlies, now known as the Memphis Grizzlies. Great job, NBA, once again. No Grizzlies in Memphis, just like the Minnesota Lakers moved to Los Angeles. No lakes in Los Angeles. It's funny how that works. Or the Utah Jazz. There's no Jazz in Utah. They came from somewhere else.
Yeah, so always an interesting thing. With Victoria, we're like, the Victoria Royals is just a solid name and a solid place for BC. It's well known, being the actual capital of British Columbia. For those who don't know, Vancouver is not the capital. It's a wild thought. But yeah, so we brought the Victoria Royals up, just changed up the logo and the colors a bit, and yeah, went from there. So, definitely. What is the next one you are bringing in, Michael?
Alberta.
Alberta. Alright, so we got a few teams here. So Fort McMurray being in the far northeast of Vancouver, Alberta. Man, it's been a day. The Barons works quite well.
For those of you who don't know, it is home of the Alberta oil sands, one of the biggest reservoirs of oil and natural gas on the planet. So we found it very fitting to throw in the Barons, like the oil Barons. Yeah, it does say Fort Worth. Fort McMurray is not in the NHL games. NHL, EA Sports, put it in there. But we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, totally. And then we've got Grand Prairie Gladiators. Touched on that a bit. That's where I grew up for my teenage years. Really rough and tough type city. A lot of the oil field, a lot of trucking going on there. So I was like, the Grand Prairie Gladiators. It rolls off the tongue quite well. Works really well. And the Red Deer Rebels, again, bringing them up from the WHL. Just the name is awesome, and the whole style that they have going on, absolutely stellar team.
Red Deer's right in between Edmonton and Calgary, so there's sort of Edmonton and Calgary are the two major cities in Alberta, and then Red Deer slots in as the third biggest one.
Yeah. Often a very dangerous place when it comes to hockey, choosing between Calgary and Edmonton. The last one you're looking for is Lethbridge.
The Pacifier.
The Pacifier. Lethbridge Warhogs. They have the Lethbridge Hurricanes, but the thought of bringing the Carolina Hurricanes, nah. I'm not a fan of the Hurricanes. They can go away.
There's no Hurricanes in Alberta.
There's no Hurricanes in Alberta, so we went with the Warhogs. That was my idea.
It's a good one, especially with in Alberta, actually now you can do helicopter boar hunts because they're pests. So you can shoot them out of a helicopter. It's pretty dope.
Exactly. We bring the war on the hogs.
Thought I'd be in for it.
Oh yeah, totally. All right. So with the prairies, we've got a few teams spending. Well, we got one in Alberta, with Medicine Hat, going all the way into Manitoba as well. With Medicine Hat, it was one of the bigger cities that is bigger than most of the rural towns of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, just due to farms and flatland. You know, you can see your dog running away for 3 days. So put in Medicine Hat just to spice it up. It's just as flat there, so might as well fit. Prince Albert with the checkers. The name just kind of just sits quite well, and with the railroad being such a significant part of the industry, especially getting freight across this country, it just made sense to go that route.
Replacing their WHL team, the Raiders, which famously had Leon Draisaitl playing for them for a period of time before he was traded to the Kelowna Rockets.
I bet they enjoyed that. Always
Actually,
having.
also had Josh Morrissey on that team, so the two of them are good friends. So when Edmonton and Winnipeg play, there's some serious bragging rights on the line.
Oh, I believe it. We also have Regina, because, just had to bring that up. Went with the Wranglers. There's a lot of ranchers out there, so it also just made sense. They are rocking more the colors of Saskatchewan flag, so that is kind of their home. Taylor Hog Rider. Great contribution.
Yep.
Just mix matching teams around. Saskatoon Storm. I have not spent a lot of time in Saskatchewan, but knowing that I've also been in southern Alberta, wind gets crazy. So
also, Saskatchewan has some of the most tornadoes in Canada, year in and year out, with major thunderstorms rolling through there. So we thought it fit, especially with one of the most deadliest tornadoes running through there way back in the early 1900s.
yeah, definitely. Brandon Warriors. There's going with a lot of the First Nations people that are in Canada,
especially too.
in the Métis. They have such a huge presence in our country, so it was to pay homage to them. It was brought the Warriors, brought some unique colors into that team. So that was our idea, especially because we need to give Manitoba at least one other team besides Winnipeg. We can't just have Winnipeg.
Yeah.
That was going to be really lame. Got to give them some options.
We're jumping over to the east now. We're going to do the Great Lakes Division. There's the Great Lakes down there shared between Canada and the States. And so we're going to throw a bunch of them are Ontario teams. You got Hamilton.
So they were mainly referenced off of the Hamilton Tiger Cats out of the Canadian Football League. Brought in some orange and some black so that because I do believe that team is yellow and black.
Yeah, most of Hamilton's teams are yellow and black. We realized we had the Screaming Eagles and a couple other teams that had those colors. So just to mix it up a bit.
Yeah. And London Knights, bringing them up from the OHL. Pretty great team. I will give them, they have an amazing jersey, amazing logo and whatnot. And unfortunately, they don't translate that well into the NHL game to be able to create or bring that team in. So we just did a little bit of work ourselves. Niagara Falls, we went with the Thunder. Pretty obvious. Niagara Falls being one of the largest waterfall in North America, with the most amount of water going over it. I have never been there, but from what I've understood, it's extremely loud, so it just made sense to call them the Thunder. Another team that we've got, Windsor. This is our most southern team. It is so far south that there are certain spots that are actually south of the United States if you look at the borders properly.
South of Detroit.
South of Detroit. Went with the Stingrays because it's got it.
Sounds cool.
Sounds
That's
cool.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
There's some NHL teams, names don't make any sense, but they sound cool.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where we went. It sounds nice.
Minnesota Wild sounds cool.
Yeah. And well, definitely. Sudbury Wildcats. I just like there's the Moncton Wildcats, which okay, yeah, sounds pretty good. But I was really blanking on Sudbury, so I just brought in the Wildcats for that because it just sounded really good. As you can tell, we took the old school Florida Panthers logo for that, because that is just a great logo, and I will forever be mad at Florida for taking that logo away. Even though I don't cheer for the team, that logo is beautiful.
And then Toronto wraps it up. You'll be going, whoa, why isn't Ottawa in this? Well, Ottawa is actually going to be in the next division.
Which has 2 other Ontario teams because Ontario just has that many cities. Because 55% of Canada's population lives in the Toronto metro area. And everywhere else. So, yeah. There's a lot of Ontario teams. So we split it between the Great Lakes Division and the St. Lawrence, with the St. Lawrence being half Quebec and half Ontario. So we got the Kingston Trappers out there. We've got the Quebec Nordiques that we're bringing back because I'm sure a lot of people miss them. I've heard and I've seen it that we really miss the Quebec Nordiques, so we brought them back.
We did have a bona fide French-Canadian judge our jersey, and he gave us his blessing.
Yep.
So, we know it's okay.
It is okay, and we will not get hung for bringing them back and absolutely destroying their jersey. He is also a Montreal Canadiens fan, so I don't know how much that played into it, but he's happy that they're back. So yeah, brought the Kingston Trappers. Nice, just it works so well. I know the Kingston Frontenacs is a thing with the old fort that they have there. Really cool. But with the trapping community that really founded this country and the economy of this country from the east, it just worked so well.
Also, being dyslexic, having to try to figure out how to say Frontenacs every time just wasn't fun. So we named them the Trappers because
Reading, because we're both English speaking and not French speaking, and Michael's dyslexic, so this just makes it easier for everyone. I sure hope we don't offend any of you guys. That would be very unfortunate. Yeah, so we put Ottawa and Montreal in this division, making it the St. Lawrence division. Just made sense as they're all close to the St. Lawrence River, which is our largest river. Especially on the east, it is also a main way for ships to come in, make port further into the country over the Atlantic provinces that are all islands of sorts. So, yeah, just setting these up, moving them around. Okay, that one's all good. I think we're getting close. And the Sherbrooke Comets rounded off for the St. Lawrence. Again, them being a city that is primarily for our astronautical experience, science, and building spaceships and all that fancy stuff going up. And so calling them the Comets made the most sense. And then our Atlantic Division, which is just derived of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland,
provinces
and PEI, because I do believe we have all 4 in them. Yeah, so we just brought up some teams. Like we brought up the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. They're currently called the Cape Breton Eagles, and as I do have a friend who is from Cape Breton and was quite upset about this, that they would turn to the Eagles. So we brought back the Screaming Eagles and used the old Washington Capitals logo, just tweaked it a bit, made it real nice. Quite upset indeed. So yeah, brought back the Screaming Eagles, and we will see how they do. We got Halifax Highlanders, Fredericton Vikings, just teams that was like, a lot of their people come from the British Isles of sorts, Scotland, Ireland, the UK, the Nordic countries is what founded a lot of the Maritimes. So going with these names just made sense. Yeah.
And if you're joining us live on the stream and going, bro, what the crap? Why does a team have 55 overall? Don't worry. We're doing a fantasy draft, so even though Victoria has 56 overall, they're not going to have that for long.
Let's hope not. I don't want Victoria to be like the Buffalo of this league. Yeah, we can put that on some other team. That is.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just pretty simple naming. Western Conference. Pacific Division. Just because there's a couple of things that, well, Pacific Ocean, it's
Yep.
freaking big.
It is frickin' big.
Jumping over here, this is the only division that's named after one province, because it is also the only division that only has teams from all of one province in it. Does that maybe come the fact that we're both Albertans? Yeah, there's a chance. But also just the amount of spread and diversity we were trying to get across the whole thing. We couldn't really call it the prairies, because then what are you going to call Manitoba and Saskatchewan? And you can't call it the Rockies, because most of the cities are nowhere near the Rocky Mountains. So
That is true. That is very true. It made it so much easier. And yeah, so it just made it a lot easier for naming our divisions, just to call it the Alberta Division and the Prairie Division, as there is not much else unless you get really, really specific for some dumb reason. Yeah, Pacific Division, because not all of them are in the Rockies. Actually, if you think about it, only 2 of them kind of are, and they barely are. Yep. Living in Prince George, I can't see the mountains, and I tell the locals that all the time, and it makes them quite upset. So yeah, so it's the Western and the Eastern Conference. Just makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, that's it. It's the West and it's the East, and it is just like the NHL. And then we got the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence, because we have so many Ontario teams that it's not like the Prairie Division where it's one Alberta team that is basically the Prairies compared to the rest of the teams. There's 3 teams in the St. Lawrence Division plus the 6 in the Great Lakes, because there's just so many large cities that we chose. So yeah, Great Lakes being all the lower area of Ontario, which is why we picked the cities that we picked, and then the St. Lawrence being further closer to the border of Quebec, with the Quebec teams as well, and then the Atlantic Division just being all the Atlantic provinces, because that's just a mass conglomerate of people and islanders and stuff like that, you know. So that way, there we go. Prince George. Dang it.
whoops, whatever. We'll just name them real quick again.
We are very good at this. We know what we're doing. Totally. 100%. buttons. Michael's here to press buttons and talk hockey.
Yes. Speaking of hockey, Anthony, what do you think about that trade between the Blues and the Rangers?
Blues and the Rangers. So that's the one that Tarasenko got traded, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
That is quite interesting, being that I cheer for the Predators, and they're in the same division as St. Louis, and we have been fighting with St. Louis all season, it seems like, for the position. Yeah, not having to deal with Tarasenko is a great asset that I don't need to deal with. Giving them to the Rangers, however, that scares me a little bit more. Let me just pull it up here. Because I need... So Tarasenko scored in his first game with New York, which is quite wild. Because there was somebody else who just got traded this past week who also scored in like their first game. Where's there's a trade tracker. Love me my trade tracker. So what was it? It was Tarasenko and Nico Mikola from St. Louis in exchange for forward Semi Blaze, Hunter Skinner, and 2 draft picks, conditional draft picks. One being for this draft of 2023, I do believe it was the first round, and then 2024 third round, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So not having Tarasenko on the Blues, it looks like they're possibly going to try and reset for next season, is what it's looking like.
Tank for Bedard.
Tank for Bedard.
According to Gary Bettman, though, of course, teams would not tank for an all-worldly talent who's only 18.
Oh, no, definitely not. That would totally not happen. That is...
No.
Yeah. Definitely not happening. Chicago.
Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to hit the continue. And then we're going to jump over to the career. So we're not doing owner mode. Owner mode not happening here. We're not going to do the fog of war either, just so that you guys have a better opportunity to look at who the teams are, and also with moving around pieces. We're going to remain pretty unbiased when it comes to the trades and stuff. And then head coach lines. There's 2 of us here, so we're going to take that off. The CPU trades for sure.
And fantasy draft. Don't forget the fantasy draft.
You bet.
I don't want to be stuck with whatever
And
roster
now,
I put on Prince George.
We're going to keep going.
Yeah, there we go.
There's the overview. Obviously, I'm going to change one little thing.
So, we're not stupidly amazing at this game. I have been on the back end of somebody who was stupidly amazing and beat me 14-1 playing as Dallas in the 2018 game. So we play at All-Star. Makes it a little bit challenging. We'll lose some, we'll win some. But I don't get absolutely destroyed like that one guy did to me one day. So yeah.
Here we go.
Oh,
We're gonna hit the random button 3 times.
All right. Starting off in 15th, going down to 21st, going down to 33rd, up to 19th.
Okay.
There we go. That's...
And Sherbrooke's getting Connor McDavid.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Looking at it. Nanaimo, Montreal, Winnipeg,
Oh, sweet.
St. John's. They're getting the run of the deal. We're going to start this off. We're going to do a couple of picks. We'll walk through some things. And then, we'll probably start our next episode out with ourselves actually breaking down what the overall rosters look like throughout most of the teams.
Yeah, definitely. This looks a lot more normal.
Here you go. So, yep, Connor McDavid.
Cale Makar goes to the Stingrays. Austin
Again,
Matthews goes tonight.
Niagara
That's
gets
funny.
the 3rd overall pick. We have Nathan McKinnon playing directly in our division, so that'll be fun. And Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Going through. Kucherov going to Edmonton.
All right.
It's funny.
My boy Yossi going to Medicine Hat.
There you go. We also have
Panarin.
Marin.
Shesterkin.
And London gets Kirill the Thrill. That brings us to the 19th overall pick in the Alternative Hockey League.
Okay, so who are we looking at? Adam Fox. He is the youngest of the top overalls so far. There's Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
So Mitch
25.
Marner has been going off the wall, especially at the beginning of the season. Going, what was it? It was over 20 games?
Yeah.
Which was absolutely insane. Absolutely destroying Toronto's already measly franchise records. But Mitch Marner has been doing quite well.
I don't know if you're interested, but I will say that Kyle Connor is one of the most underrated scorers in the league, and the fact that, when it comes to playing, like I said earlier when we were making picks, I look at age, I look at term, I look at cap space. We want to make a successful team. We want to save on cap. Mitch Marner, amazing player. Otherworldly talent. 10.9. Woof.
Yeah, that's harsh.
7.1 for 4 years. Longer term. Less money.
Same age.
Let's do it. Kyle Connor, welcome to Prince George.
All right. Toronto Maple Leafs going up right behind us. They took Mitch Marner. That'd be funny. Just saying.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Almost there. Connor. Oh,
Sidney Crosby goes to Toronto. Funny.
I don't
and
like
then
that.
Red Deer gets Elias Pettersson. Marchand over in Saskatchewan. Kachuk. Look at those two rats picked. Going over to Halifax. Alexis Lafreniere going to
Got
Sudbury.
picked higher than I thought he would.
That's pretty good.
Robertson
is in Laval. I'm okay with that.
DeBrincat.
And your team grabbing
DeBrincat. Okay. All right.
McAvoy's over in Quebec.
Owen Power.
First. I didn't see that one coming either.
No
but I guess,
kidding.
He's a top guy, so he's gonna anchor the Checkers blue line there. Adam Fox dropping down. Andrei Svechnikov.
Morty Seider.
There you go.
There you go.
The Screaming
Nice.
Eagles have the future #1 defenseman in the league, in my opinion, coming up. Hopefully, maybe. Who knows? We'll see how his progress is. Winnipeg gets Eichel. I'm sorry for Winnipeg.
Braden
Montreal
Point.
gets Point.
And
Where did Edmonton pick? Oh, yeah, they got Kucherov. Okay.
yeah.
So let's see what's going on here. Sebastian Aho, first to the second round. Ovechkin falls to the second round.
St. John Sea Dogs. Oh
Larkin
boy.
and Eichel going with Americans down the center in Winnipeg. Darlene. Barzell, he's going to be heading off the Screaming Eagles.
Shifley
over in
Kingston.
Trappers. Marner falls to the second round. I bet you it was that term, that long term.
Probably.
Zegras jumping in. Okay. Landeskog.
With Owen Power.
Yeah.
Trevor Zegras and Owen Power
That's
at the
a young
Checkers.
team.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Forsberg.
My boy.
There you
My
go.
boy.
Kyrou.
Gaudreau.
Gaudreau falling way down. Bowen Byram getting selected. Dang. And now
All
it's our
right.
turn. Okay.
Here
So
we go.
Have a top, we got a top guy there. They haven't drafted any goaltenders for the most part yet.
So, come at it while the getting's good. Oh, my boy Saros. I love my boy
Is
Saros.
he any good in this form of the NHL game?
I mean, we've played how many games with Nashville Edmonton, and I've
Yeah.
shown you what's up.
Do you want to pick Saros as a goalie, or do we want to wait to the third round?
I think we can wait till the third round.
Okay.
Because there's definitely going to be other goalies that will go first. Probably Hellebuck. And, yeah. So, yeah, so what are we thinking for our second pick? Because we currently have a left winger.
Center or defenseman, I think, is a pretty solid idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, pair Patty Laine with
Oh,
Kyle
man.
Connor. Do that again. See how that works out for us.
That could end interesting. Shea Theodore, Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt's been doing good in New Jersey. Fiala, Gerard, sure.
Most of these guys guys will be around for a bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, most of those guys will be around, so we've got some time.
So, jumping in, looking to find somebody who's gonna maybe anchor our blue line for a little bit.
Devin Taves?
Devin Taves, 2 years. We are gonna have to pay him a bunch in 2 years.
That is true. He is 28, so who knows?
Yeah.
Might not be too high. Let's see, what's all up here? There's a lot of these guys. Ooh.
Thomas
Shabbat.
Shabbat.
6 years at 8 mil.
He's 25.
And he's 25.
So he'll be 31.
Yeah. He's in the game, he's an overall 87.
Yep.
So I think that is a good pick to start off our defensive core.
There we go.
Calgary picking right behind us. Alright, let's see how the second round ended. See if any goaltenders have been taken. Oh man, Brady Tkachuk goes to Calgary.
Raymond. So the Vikings getting their young stars. Caulfield.
And
Taves.
Slavkovsky goes to Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
Stutzla stays in Ottawa. That's funny. Dougie Hamilton. Nick Suzuki goes to Niagara. Mark Stone and Nico Hischier.
Okay. Third
Still
round.
no
Laine
goaltenders.
Goes. Wright goes.
Petrangelo, Meyer, Demko. There's our first goaltender. Going to Vancouver.
Second or third. We had in the first round.
Oh.
Vasilevsky.
Oh yeah, Vasilevsky.
We had Vasilevsky go.
And Shesterkin.
went.
Right. There's a couple of the over-the-top goaltenders. I saw my boy got picked, though. Saros goes to Lethbridge. That's rough.
Hintz. Another goalie picked. Tag Thompson goes. Ooh. Thought we could sneak him out, maybe.
Guess not. I think we should get our goaltender now while we still got the chance. So, got a few...
Here's my thought. Sorokin.
Okay. 2 years at 4 mil. He's
Yep.
27. He's going to be 29. Jerry, 1 year. Ugh.
Got to sign him right away.
Yeah, got to sign him right away. There's Ottinger. He's young.
He's 23.
He's 23. A lot of potential there.
Carter
Hart. Could be good. The team that he's on right now currently has not been doing so great, so it's made him look not amazing.
So do you want to go with the younger guy? He's younger by a year, so it's not that much, but he's got 3 years term.
And they're roughly the same price.
Yeah.
But for an extra year,
Yeah.
I think it would be wiser to go with Ottinger.
Ottinger it is.
I do like Ottinger.
At this point, we're just going to start going through and making our picks. We're going to speed this up a little bit.
Yep.
Taking a look at seeing who got picked just ahead of us.
Kopitar,
Kako goes.
Kako,
Ooh, that's
John-
going to turn out bad. I feel bad for... that's-
Sudbury.
Yep.
Poor Sudbury. Uyghur. Okay. So we got defenseman, left wing, goaltender.
Want to pick a center?
Yep. I think we should pick a center.
What if we do this? Shift it up a bit. See if we can find some of the younger guys.
Rossi. Oh, he's a lot of the younger guys. Savoy, Eklund, Johnson, Holloway, Geeky, Kotkaniemi. 8 years at 4.8. He's 22. Hot.
Would that be
Dang.
a steal?
I think that's a steal. I think that's a right good steal right there.
Sounds good. If we go back to the overall, is there anybody here that we're like, we need to grab? I feel like most of these guys are going to keep falling just because their term and their contract is so high.
Especially with their age, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we got a chance there to get a pretty solid second line center.
Definitely.
So for now, let's do Kotkaniemi.
Yep. I think that will be a great, long-lasting.
Could bite us in the butt.
Could bite us in the butt.
We'll find out.
That's what. Isn't that what every young team is like? Billy Huso goes to Calgary. Billy.
Do we want to pick another center, or do we want to go with the defenseman now?
I think we should get a pretty decent right wing.
You want to put the full line together, or do you want to build down the center strong?
Or building down the center strong would definitely be a better idea.
Second line center. Looking around. Nugent Hopkins is there. Fan of him. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, no surprise. Mikhail Granlund.
Cop, Hayes, Tays.
Krejci.
Yep.
Cirelli.
Have to pay him pretty
Oh,
quick.
yeah. It's a 1-year contract. That's going to
And
suck.
that's where my thought sort of goes to. If we're building like a team that has room for cap to get some really good like players later on. Nugent Hopkins, he's 29, 7 years, 5.1.
He'll be a solid player for a while.
Sound good?
Yep.
Perfect.
Let's get the nugget. See how things go from here.
Okay. Jumping in to the 6th round, we've spent 29 million on 5 players. I think that's pretty darn good.
Yep.
Are we looking for a right wing now or a defenseman?
Let's get another defenseman. Because nothing scares me more than a bad defensive core.
Checking out some of the younger defensemen out there. Hopefully, maybe. We'll see. Boom. Found one.
There's some wild numbers here. Let's see.
Most of the mainstream young guys have been picked.
Yep. Definitely have. Oh my goodness, Chara's still sitting there.
So I guess we're going to go overall. Not age.
Not age, bro.
Overall.
Eric Carlson, Matthias Ekholm. They're still a bit older.
Clefbaum's still in the game. Surprising.
Yep. Pionk. Gross. Unpronounceable names.
Cost despair.
That's how it is. Ekman. Oh man, that's hefty still. A lot of 1 years.
Do we want to snag Pionk? Looking at that, he's going to be 30. Then we can decide if we want to pay him more than $6 million.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Ricard Raquel. Alright.
Okay. So, we have 2 centers, a left wing, a goalie, and 2 defensemen. Where are we going now?
I think we need to get ourselves a right winger. See what's out there. What do we got? What do we got? A lot of the older guys. Good old right wing.
Okay. That's what we're looking at. Overall, or potential wise. Overall wise, jumping in. Let's see here. Who do we think we want to grab?
Konechny is young. He's got 3 years. 5.5. Besides that, everybody's looking close to 30 or over 30.
Yep, bringing Brendan Gallagher for that leadership quality. Arvidsson.
Oh boy. Handing the controller off. Let's see. Joseph. 25. He's got 4 years.
But he's never going to be a
Yeah.
solid top 6.
Yeah. Arvidsson's tempting. But he's probably going to stick around for a while. I don't know. That's connect me. Like paying the 5.5 sounds like a good idea for 3 years.
I'm always in on Connect Me.
All right, let's
There you
do
go.
that. All right.
Okay. Jump it down. Do we want to grab that really good second pairing defenseman maybe? Slip into that, see if we can find somebody, even somebody who's a little younger, maybe the future of our defense.
Definitely would like to do that. See what we can find.
This guy.
Joki Haru.
Couldn't tell you how to say his name. I know he has to do something with Buffalo. He might have been traded. He is cheap and he is young. And we can exploit him.
We definitely do not do that in Prince George. That doesn't happen. You didn't hear that. All right. We're going to get... I think I'm going to look for a left winger. I follow.
Zach Hyman is available. Zach Hyman, one of my favorite Oilers players right now. Such a fun time to watch. I also really liked him in Toronto, but he played for Toronto, so can you really like him that much? But keep looking.
6 years for 5.5. Like, that'll pretty much be the end of his career if we keep him that long. Kubalik. Jake DeBrusk. $4 million for 2 years. Gross. Mike Hoffman. Jones. Tanner Janelle. Oh, yeah, he's on his last year. Ugh. I would not put him in the top 6 though.
Is this where we splurge and spend more money on our second line? I mean, I guess
That's the thing.
'cause we know that we're going to have some younger players, so what if we go up? Who do we got? Bring in Hyman for that character in the locker room. He's 5.5. Somebody's going to pick him sooner or later.
This is true.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does.
Second line, play on the power play if he needs to.
Lock him up for the next year.
Yep.
Next 6 years. All right. Going into round 10.
Round 10. We got some right wingers available. Looking around. I myself am all in on a third line center. Somebody who's going to be able to ground out that third line. Play a bit of a heavier game. Just sort of bring that intensity.
Definitely.
Looking around. Let's see who we got going higher up. Price is climbing. We got Krejci coming for a year. That would be a rent player for sure.
Yep.
Backlund. It's a little expensive in my mind. Holla. Just not as heavy-minded. Let's see. Charlie Coyle. Scott Lawton. Jordan Stahl. Carter. I think I'm going to do the man who's got the 1 year, $1 million deal.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. I think I'm gonna level out our second line defense. So we've got some of the older guys still out here. Let's see. Dylan, Justin Hall, Alexiak. 4 years at 4.6. He's okay. Okay,
I think there's a better bargain bin defenseman out there for us to find.
definitely. Morgan Riley.
Mike Riley, actually.
Oh, that's Mike Riley.
Mm-hmm.
It's the other one. Luke Shen. Oh, he's... Okay, these guys are coming to the... On. Zadorov. There's... Oh, yeah. Definitely Chara at 45. What do we got? What do we got? McNabb. He's cheap. He's got 3 years still. I think that's a good pick.
Sounds good to me.
Welcome to Prince George. All right.
Okay. I'm going to take a look at the goalies, see what we can do for a backup goaltender. Find a guy who can play a couple of games and really help hold it all down, who isn't also going to cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see. Somebody who's maybe got a little bit of term, so we can work with that.
Lindgren, Thomas.
Ottinger, we're definitely committing to Ottinger.
Yeah.
He's gonna be our guy.
Not a lot of these guys have a lot of term.
No,
Out
but
of
I
one-
think I'm gonna go with the Smith. I watched him a bunch. He's in Pittsburgh, and I paid attention to Tristan Yari, considering that he came from the Edmonton Oil Kings in the WHL.
Ah, yes.
So.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What are we looking at? We got 2 left wings, 1 right winger. I think it is time for a right winger. Eno Niederreiter, Phil Kessel, Brendan Gallagher, Capozzo, Lundqvist, Palmieri, Smith, Colton Sissons. He's a decent, 4 years at 2.8. I think that's actually a pretty good pick. See him quite often, being a Nashville fan myself.
I'm also gonna select a right winger, and then we're gonna select a left winger. That's gonna be our top 6, or our top 9 defensemen, or our top 9 forwards. Sorry, our top 4 defensemen, and our 2 goalies, and then we're just gonna let it run the rest of the way, and that is going to be pretty much the end of it. And,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's see. Who do we got on the right wing? Coming in here. Who's going to play third line minutes on the right wing? Or we could do left wing and just play 2 guys. Left wing. Do we got a center who could even play that side? That doesn't cost as much. Jeff Carter's getting a little old. It's a little bit too much money. Left wings. Pearson, Goodrow, Tatar,
Yarncroak for 4 years at 2.1.
Ellie Yarncroak, yeah. Not bad either.
Yeah. He did a little bouncing around after getting picked up by Seattle in the expansion draft, then went to Calgary and now is sitting in Toronto. Poor guy. I miss him dearly.
Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I think we need some youth. I think we need to jump in. I think we need a guy who's going to hit hard. I'm going to watch him clean. Goskin.
Yeah.
Edmonton. I've really been enjoying his play. Like the guy all the way through. Very similar to Zach Hyman. I'm going to be biased.
Sounds good. All right.
And our last pick before we sim the rest of this draft.
I'm gonna pick the last right winger.
And again, if you're joining us and you're like, what the heck's going on? This is going to go up on YouTube. We'll let you know what our channel is in the comments. But yeah, that's going to be the last pick for us in person for the Prince George Lumberjacks of the alternate hockey universe. Alternate hockeyverse.
Oh, that guy's just got traded. Zach Cassian. Oh boy. Real rough and tough tumble guy. Yep, definitely running out of our Armia.
Just go down a bit. I think I saw Ryan Reeves.
Oh my goodness. The goon himself. Oh, what a time. What? McEwen Clutterbuck. Austin Watson. Played a little bit in Nashville.
The real deal, James Neal.
There's getting into the real young guys out here. All very small contracts as well. I feel like I want a little bit more. How is this guy? Where does he play?
I'm not totally sure. I
Interesting.
believe he settled in on Columbus.
3 years at 1.4. He's 25.
I don't know how to pronounce your name, so Coleslaw, how are you doing?
Welcome to the team.
Grab the homemade coleslaw. Okay.
I've definitely seen him before. He plays for Vegas.
Does he?
Yeah,
Ah.
based on that jersey.
There you go. Well,
And we just played Vegas the other week, or the other day.
here we go. We're going to sim the rest of this draft. And then we're going to take a look quick at
What we've ended up with.
what our team looks like.
And yeah, next week, hopefully, if we get to it next week, we will start the season and see what we have to work with.
You bet.
And as we go through, we'll definitely keep track of stats of different players out in the league, on our team, see what's working, see what's not.
And we'll also be talking about things that go around in the real NHL. Some of our team successes, some of our greatest frustrations, along with some of the biggest notes and information, especially as trade deadline comes and the playoff race heats up. So, by team, quickly take a look. There's
So they started out with Vasilevsky in Halifax.
Yep.
That is,
I'm specifically curious about Edmonton.
of course, you are.
Kucherov.
Hey, they brought themselves Darnell Nurse
Yeah.
and Carter Hart.
the hometown kid
There you
from
go.
Sherwood Park.
Alex Killorn, Jordan Eberle.
Jordan Eberle coming back. Look at that.
Yeah,
Then we are.
I'm interested in Grand Prairie, definitely. That's my town. DeBrincat, Forsberg, Pelech, Malkin, Kokkonen, Backstrom, McDonough, Toffoli, Domi.
They're the old team on the block.
Yeah, they are. Subban, Ben.
A lot of money.
Oh yeah, a lot of money.
Who had the first overall pick again?
It was. Oh man. Comets. The Comets.
Who's playing with Connor? It is Connor and Heischer, your first two centers. Patrick Laine is now going to score 1,000 goals playing next to Connor McDavid.
Holy smokes. Provorov.
Dang. Yeah, they got Bobrovsky.
Sergeant
You
Bobrovsky.
might figure out how to freaking play. We'll find out.
Or it might just be last season for
Of
Edmonton
course,
all over
before
again.
we check out our own team. Nope. Okay. Who's playing with Sidney Crosby? Jesse Puljujärvi.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Already, I'm just gonna look at this this team, and who knows? Maybe it comes out well, maybe it doesn't. But
They
oh
might
boy,
they might
Toronto.
pass the first round. Like it was a complete rebuild and that's what got them. Or it could just be a nosedive forever.
Otherwise, here we go.
So
Here's our group of guys. Here's the boys.
so we got Studnicka, Suzuki, not
DiPietro, Ball, and then a couple other guys, and
bunch of names that I don't know.
but we're gonna get to know them. We're gonna get to know them real well as we move forward. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we're hoping to release the next episode next week, either during the week, maybe on a Wednesday. Otherwise, we're also going to shoot for Saturday again.
Definitely.
So, yeah, please tune in. Remember, we're just two guys on a couch who got bored, so this is what we did. I'm Michael.
And I'm Anthony.
And we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for jumping in.